Hey, podcast listeners, I'm Gabe.
And I'm Nick.
And we host the Facing Off podcast, and we are inviting you to give our podcast a listen.
On Facing Off, Gabe and I take two movies we find to be similar, and we compare, contrast, and rate them in our own unique way. We pair movies across all genres. As long as there's a common thread between the two movies, we'll face them off. We also give these movies awards at the end of the episode. Sometimes we even rank our favorite movies based on some specific criteria.
So, after finishing this podcast, please go and listen to Facing Off, which can be found on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to podcasts simply by searching for Facing Off. You can also follow us on Instagram and Twitter by looking up Facing Off Pod.
Podcast is all very scientific. We don't have time to get into it right now.
I guess you'll just have to listen to find out.
I guess so.
Hey everyone, I'm Adam.
And I'm Dennis, and we're the hosts of Movie Toast News and Reviews.
Do you ever wonder if it's worth your time watching a new movie or a classic?
Do you hate when people talk about movie news you've never even heard of?
Stop worrying, because we got you covered.
Every Sunday on Twitch, we talk about our favorite movie news from the previous week.
Every Thursday, we drop a review podcast covering classics to new releases.
And our YouTube page has tons of buttery crumbs that we can't fit anywhere else.
So come check us out at movie_toasts on Twitter, Instagram, and Reddit.
And at Movie Toast News and Reviews on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook.
With no further ado, enjoy the podcast that we just interrupted.
Today we're looking at the Santa Clause Trilogy, a series of comedy films starring Tim Allen. After he accidentally causes the death of a man in a Santa suit, Scott and his son are magically transported to the North Pole, where an elf explains that Scott must take Santa's place before the next Christmas arrives. Over the span of the trilogy, we follow along as Scott embraces the new permanent role he has as Santa Claus. Everybody, cheers!
Cheers!
Oh cheers! Cheers! Ah, fucking hell, what a day. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, old, young, in between, elfish, impish, wise and dumb, tall, short, skinny, wide, dogs, cats, black, white. I tried to do opposites and it turned racist all of a sudden. What I'm trying to say is, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Christmas and Chill podcast. It is 8:13 in the afternoon and we are buzzed.
Afternoon? It's past my
It's
bedtime.
not morning. You're here this evening with Josh, with Maddie, with Luke and with Amy. How are we this evening, everyone?
Bloody tired.
And why is that?
I just watched 3 fucking movies in a row.
Were they good?
Yeah, they're pretty good.
We also played a round or two of ping pong.
We did.
Beer pong.
Ping pong. Beer pong. Pong.
So we might be a little bit.
Yes, this evening we watched... We started this morning, let's be real. It's finished this evening. We watched the Santa Clause Trilogy. So we watched the Santa Claus 2, and the Santa Clause 3.
That's what a trilogy is. Well done.
Yep, cool. First impressions, we're going to try and analyse this, I think, as a trilogy. Because otherwise, this podcast is going to go 3 hours long. So, when we talk about this, let's talk about it as a collective trilogy. We can point out stuff from each of the 3.
I feel like this is going to be hard for Luke.
But we'll see how we go. So, collectively, what do we think of the movie? Maddie, you go first.
It was good.
What do you like about the
They're
movie?
good, fun movies. I think they explain the world of Santa very well, and I think they explain how he becomes Santa quite well. I think that the first is very different to the second last, 2 and number 3. I think 2 and 3 are very similar and in the same vein, whereas number 1's a bit more older, if that makes sense.
Makes sense.
So they kind of found their niche after the second one and then the third. I prefer the third overall, but maybe that's nostalgia.
Okay.
I've always liked the third first.
Right.
But yes, I think other than that, it's a good movie and Tim Allen is a good Santa.
Yeah, look, fair enough. Amy, what do you think of the movies that we watched?
I thought they were all pretty good. I don't really like the second one because the robot Santa really scared me and has always scared me. But I think these movies are just movies that I feel like everyone watches. Like if you ever ask someone what Christmas movie they'd watch each year, I feel like everyone would say Santa Claus. Like it's just one of those movies. Yeah.
I forgot how good these movies were. Luke, what do you think of the trilogy, mate?
First one I thought was really, really good. I can see why people see it as a Christmas classic and watch it every year. I do think the quality does go down after the second and third. Like, I'm also looking at this from an adult. For kids, I could see the appeal, because as a kid, I liked those movies. But now, seeing it as an adult, I'm kind of like, nah, it's not my thing. I also think, I don't know, it's just, there's a lot of stuff that, for me personally, it just doesn't work with me. But I do like the first one. I thought the first one was really good.
Yeah, right. Okay.
What about you, Josh?
Well, I did enjoy this as a set of movies. I forgot how good the Santa Claus is, like the first one. And also the second and third. They're actually quite good. There wasn't anything that I didn't like across the three movies. But yeah, it's definitely one of those ones that I think, Amy, you said it, that you watch every year? No? Who said that?
People watch
someone
every
did.
year.
You did. You said it. You said it becomes a favourite that everyone watches every year.
My mum watches the first Santa Claus every year. That's a part of the nostalgia. A little bit for me, not so much. It was kind of scary watching the first one when you were a kid, because there's a lot of, like, especially the office scenes. There's something about them that kind of feel kind of like just sad. And as a kid, I always liked the North Pole scenes, because I'm like, ooh, snow and seeing all the elves and...
Man, as a kid, you must have really dreaded the office life.
Yes, I did. Hey!
The thought of a 9 to 5 filled you with dread.
For 5 years, I've basically been trying to study to be an artist of some type. So I don't know, it was just more like, I think it's, for me...
I'm just imagining 7-year-old Luke hiding under the covers at the side of a phone.
Office! Timesheets!
Yeah. All right, against my bit of judgment, let's quickly break down each of the three movies, because realistically, I cannot think of a way that we can do this without going into all three.
Maybe we can go with, like, a good thing about the movie and a bad thing about the movie from each of us.
Sounds good. All right, Maddie, what's something you liked about the first movie and what's something you didn't like about the first movie?
I liked the transition to Santa Claus. I think that was explained pretty well. I didn't like how he just accepted being Santa Claus all of a sudden. Feel like it should have been more progressive.
He did kind of all of a sudden, especially I noticed in that...
He's always been kind of like, grumpy as Scott Calvin, and then all of a sudden he was like, nah, I'm Santa now.
Like that scene where he's in the boardroom with the toys, and then all of a sudden, no, we can't have that. Santa can't be an attacker.
Yeah.
No, but that was after he, started talking with the kids and all that sort of stuff when they were at the soccer match.
No, that was before the soccer match.
Oh.
So that was the first sign of him getting those Santa traits, was at that boardroom meeting.
I agree with Maddie. I didn't like that bit either. I thought it was very quick or very sudden. Yeah. I also didn't like how his sons, like his ex-partner and all that, were all like, oh, you can't be saying all these things about your dad and stuff. And I was like, well, he's a kid. He can say or do whatever he wants. Like, he can pretend. Like, just because you can say that he's pretending his dad's Santa. That doesn't really mean anything.
Also, the timeline in the first one's confusing to me.
Yes.
It feels like a couple of days rather than a whole year.
Yeah, you were mentioning this when we watched it. It kind of feels like
they jumped a lot.
It jumps a lot, but the jumping doesn't feel consistent.
Yeah.
Okay, Amy. Can you tell us something you liked about the first movie?
I reckon one thing I liked was the relationship, how it grew between Santa Claus and his son. I reckon that was pretty good. Yeah.
What do you think of the son's bowl cut? It was pretty good.
It reminded me of my brother's bowl cut that he had when he was a kid.
Hi, Monty. Luke, what's something that you liked and didn't like about the first movie?
I thought the first movie, I like the fact that the elves were kids. I think in the other depictions we've had, because the elves have been adults, it sort of gives the magic of the Santa world it seems more like, they work, they send off the toys. In this case, it was more like they're working because they've got the hearts of kids and they're thinking in the minds of kids, if you get what I mean. Probably the thing I didn't like was very similar to what Maddie was saying about the way that the time of the movie didn't really match up. Like, they didn't explain enough about the way he's gaining his weight and all that sort of stuff. And they didn't explain that in the clause, you are going to become Santa over this period of time. And it could have been better with, like, say, a montage, and the montage goes through his transformation, and he gets to the point where, like, he's sick of it, and then after that, it's like, oh, wait, no, I'm now this. And then that becomes that way.
What about you, Josh?
I think I actually really enjoyed the dynamic between Tim Allen's character as the estranged or the single father and the husband, like the kid's actual mother and the stepdad. I thought that was actually a really good dynamic, how it wasn't so much like they kind of put all their differences aside for the kid, if that makes sense. I thought that was quite nice, and that's a dynamic we haven't really come across yet. The only other movie I can kind of think about that does something similar is Daddy's Home 2, with
That's true.
the co-parenting.
Actually, I was thinking about that one.
I actually thought that this movie did it quite well, and I really liked the fact that, obviously it's going to be hard for them to believe that he's Santa, but at the end they both came around to that idea that he was Santa, because they kind of were reminded of that childhood stuff.
And especially since Neil was a psychiatrist as well, it would have given it a bit more of a...
Yeah, definitely.
It would have been... this movie especially was a little bit more realistic than some of the other Santa movies we've watched.
You can tell that a lot of Christmas movies have taken inspiration from the Santa Claus.
Yeah, the ones especially after this movie.
Definitely.
In
I didn't like the head elf.
Bernard.
I thought he was all right, but there was just... I didn't like the fact that he was older. Does that make sense? All the other elves were like the same age and the same height.
I don't think so. It was good because...
No, but this is my opinion. But they never grow up, right? So all the elves throughout the movies, they always stay the same height. So how is he taller?
Maybe he's just much older.
Didn't make sense.
Maybe the head elf, once you become a head elf, maybe
you grow
a bit.
It was better than Fred Claus, where there's one lady who's like hot sex appeal and older than everybody else, or looking taller than everyone else, and it's kind of weird.
Maybe she's supposed to be Mrs. Claus' replacement.
Maybe.
There was the Mrs. Claus in
good point.
last night wasn't attractive, so...
That's true.
Rude. Well,
all right, let's move on to Santa Claus 2. Maddie, what's something you did like and what's something you didn't like about Santa Claus 2?
This is I guess the opposite to the first one. I liked that he did the desantification.
Yeah, that was quite
It was like
clever,
a reversal of the first movie. Like, obviously he goes through the desantification and then has to desantify. What didn't I like about the second one? I don't like the plastic Tim Allen. He's a bit creepy.
Yeah. I was going to say, is it scary? Is that what it is? Or is it like...
It's just uncanny. Like, it's not really... It's in that uncanny
bit
valley
of a
where it's
weird
like
story, I thought.
Yeah. What do you think? Yeah, Communist Santa no good?
Nah, I didn't like Communist Santa.
All right. What about you, Abby? What's something you liked and didn't like about the second movie?
Yeah, I definitely didn't like the plastic Santa and like his soldiers. Also, I feel like I didn't maybe another thing I didn't like is how at the end the elves could so easily attack them. It's like, why didn't you do that earlier?
Yeah, the soldiers. Like, if you were such a threat, what?
Actually, I'd like to change my dislike.
Okay.
I disliked Charlie's story. The reason he was angsty is because he had to keep a secret about his dad. Like, some of us go through teenage shit and actually have angst, but he was like, my dad is Santa and I can't tell anyone.
Best dad.
So I'm rebelling. Like, I was like, oh my God, grow up.
Amy, what's something you did like about the second movie? If anything, if you didn't like anything, that's okay as well.
I feel like I feel like Luke would say that maybe the transition of the principal going from good to bad was pretty quick, but I thought it worked out fine. I feel.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, with my I did like the fact that they made Christmas romantic. Like, it's something that where it could have been magical and romantic, even though it is a bit fast, and he does turn around in a couple of days and be like, hey, you gotta marry me.
Yeah.
Like,
But that's just the story.
Yeah,
That's
I
Christmas,
understand that.
man.
But I did like the romantic aspect to Christmas that some movies try and do, but this one, I think because it has the magical element, was a bit more engaging than some of the other stuff. Stuff I didn't like. I think having Plastic Santa there really didn't, like, it was such a weird, I don't know, he felt like he was a replacement because they couldn't get him in both places. I know that's a part of the movie, but
That's literally the movie.
That's the point.
no, I understand that's a part of the movie, but I don't think it works as a story beat because, like, by the end, it just felt kind of forced. It didn't really feel like it actually progressed until the end, where he's like, oh, we're going to give everybody coal. It's like, well, he was already evil from the start. Like, they knew that they needed to keep him on a leash. I would have thought that the fact that he was a fake Santa would have been the really big...
Well, the thing is,
He
the
only
elves
became
didn't,
evil when he started reading about the rules of Santa, though.
and also the elves didn't know, they were not supposed to know that he wasn't the real Santa, because the head elf, Bernard, came out and said, all this stuff has happened, like, don't make comments on his face, blah, blah, blah.
But the elves are pretty, like, forgiving. Like, they're not fragile. They're pretty forgiving with Santa and what he does, because essentially Santa is their boss. So it's not like they can really say, oh, Santa, we don't like the fact that you're leaving. Like, if they knew about, okay, you got to go and do this thing, that would make more sense to me.
All right. That's fair.
What about you, Josh?
I'm actually going to flip of what all three of you think. And I actually think my favourite thing about the second one was fake Santa. I actually really enjoyed that storyline. I thought the communist Santa was hilarious. I thought that... I know it's creepy and I know it's a bit uncanny, but I actually think it's really funny. I think that's a testament to Tim Allen, because he played a caricature of his own character.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Like, he took what he was already doing and just went, all right, let me turn this all the way up, and told even cheesier jokes. And I just something about his facial expressions with that mask I actually found quite funny. It was quite creepy, I guess, but I don't know. I just thought it was quite funny. I didn't like Bernard in this movie. I think that as a tall elf, it doesn't make any sense compared to the rest of the other elves.
But I think it might also be that he's a bit snarky, and that the actor plays those kind of characters before. And I've seen him play those characters before, and that's kind of I think that does put me off a little bit about his character. It's like, well, I know everything. It's like, well, yeah, if you know everything, then you know.
The other thing I wanted to touch on with Santa Clause 2, just before we move on to the next movie, is the whole, I guess, idea of a trilogy. That the first movie, it's about becoming Santa. The second one is Mrs. Claus, and the third one is, I guess, having the child, and that kind of progression. With this movie, and Amy, you touched on it as well, that she kind of went from bad principal to good principal really quick, and then went from good principal to I love you really quick. Do you think that that whole storyline works in that aspect? I found it, I get it, he had to do it, and of course she was going to love him in the end, but I don't know, it felt rushed.
It is rushed.
And I think because it felt rushed, it made I didn't enjoy her as much in the third movie.
Well, I think
Does that
they
make
make
sense?
mention of it in the third movie that she's just whisked away all of a sudden. You know what I mean? Like, she didn't get to see her family anymore. It's all of a sudden she's in the North Pole.
That's very true. They actually
I
reference.
think the first one really works as Santa becoming Santa because it's focused on him becoming Santa. In the second movie, they try to juggle two different ideas that don't really land too well.
But they work together though because he's left, so they need someone to take his
But
place.
they don't. But the thing is, though, Bernard could have been a Santa's here, but we can't let you see him, and there's a cover up of him not being there. That would have been more interesting. And then having Santa actually more focused on finding someone he really truly.
But I guess they had to have something go wrong at the North Pole.
Yeah.
Right? I think in every movie something goes wrong at the North Pole.
Yeah.
So what happens?
Otherwise
in
you've
the
got no story.
The first one doesn't happen like that.
Well, I guess Santa dies. That's
Well, no, because the idea of Santa, it's a clause. You pick up the suit, you become Santa. That's
yeah, but that's what I'm
how it
saying.
works.
Like his transition was what happened in the North Pole in the first one.
Yeah, but they don't. They know that as a part of the world. Like it just happens every couple. I would say 80
Also,
years or so.
I think the reason why I didn't mind the progression of the girl, Mrs. Claus, in the second movie, like, yes, if I looked at it as real life, I'd say, oof, like, what are you doing, girl? But because it's...
Girl, what you doing?
But because it's got the background of Santa Claus and he needs to find a wife pretty quick, I think that's why I was kind of like, it's not...
It's got
It's not
stakes.
genuine as well because it's looking to keep his job. He has to marry someone.
Yeah,
It's
that's
not
why I'm
like-
saying that it's actually, if from that sense, I feel like it's fine. Like, I actually liked that.
Because
It
of that
does become
aspect.
genuine
Yeah.
in the end, though.
Yeah, it's that one that he looks for a person and
I
actually
would
falls
have
for.
found it a little bit.
But you couldn't make it any slower.
No, I'm not saying it in
You
slower.
couldn't make it any
It's true.
slower.
He had
Like,
26
yeah,
days.
he couldn't go, oh, I'm going to woo her in a year.
No.
He had to woo her in 26 days.
I like the fact that he has to go and find. You have to go and find Mrs. Claus and go become Santa again. But I think it would have been, for me personally, I would have found it more interesting him having to do the dating life because this would have to happen with every Santa. It's not just the one
But
Santa.
he did. But anyway, let's move on. We're going to spend too much time on here. Knowing
hilarious
Luke,
dating scene with Molly
That
Shannon
was
where
brilliant.
she was singing Shania Twain. That was quite good. Let's move on to Santa Claus 3. Maddie, give me something you liked and something you didn't like about Santa Claus 3.
I liked this whole movie.
Yeah. This
I
was
like
your
Jack
pick.
Frost. I like creepy Jack Frost.
What do you think of Martin Short as an addition to
He's
the cast?
brilliant.
Maddie? What's something you didn't like about it? If you had to pick something, what don't you like about this movie?
I don't know. I don't like that Spencer Breslin's character is the main elf in him. Like, I don't think he works as the head elf.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
All of a sudden, Bernard's not there and he's the head
where
elf.
did Bernard go?
There's no explanation. He's the head elf, and I don't think he's good at head
A
elf.
little bit of research, and I think he dropped off the map for a little bit, acting wise. I think he wanted to go off to college.
But they could have, like, actually done something for him, like
Yeah.
like
a
a send-off.
handover or something.
That would make sense. Or have him as a cameo at the end.
I think this one also had the strongest message.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like when Jack Frost becomes Santa and it's all commercialised and,
Yeah.
pay to see Santa's show. It's all about Christmas
Money.
not being commercial and it's about family and having family. And
So do you think the movie then explores how Santa is, the idea of Santa is more about the family aspect?
Yeah.
Because if there's a different figurehead,
Yeah,
it becomes more about the presence.
absolutely.
Well, it becomes very apparent in the first one. It's about his relationship to his family, and the second one does as well. He's finding a family and his relationship to his son again, and the people around him. And the third one is obviously they all come over and all that sort of stuff.
Amy, what's something you did and didn't like about number 3?
I felt like not so much the way he acted or anything. Like, I thought Sam Frost was done really well. I just thought the character was a dick.
Yeah,
He is, isn't he? He is a dick.
So I didn't really, like, from a character point of view, I didn't really like him. Something I liked. I just liked everything, I guess. I don't know. Like, there's no real thing that I could pick out and say, oh, I really liked that.
What's a favourite, say, scene or something?
No, I can't say.
Oh, okay.
What's this mansplaining?
Oh, no.
All right, but what's a part of
Mansplaining.
the movie that you enjoyed, and what's a part of the movie that you didn't enjoy?
Martin Short, I think Jack Frost, the whole character, the whole storyline, I just didn't like, and his acting was god awful.
Boo.
And I'm not saying I'm taking
down
off my
gallery.
media cap. I just.
I mean,
His
he
character
halfway
was
through.
so creepy and snivelly and just like
That's
I'm
the
gonna
point.
try and take it from under Santa. It's like
Halfway that's the point.
Halfway through, Luke slid down the chair and was like, "Oh, this is so boring."
It was not good. Like, and I'm
Come on, peoples, let's come on.
like.
Professional.
Like, I know that I'm going to be the outlaw here, but I think with this particular movie, I wish there was another character where he actually had some weight against Santa. Like, yes, Tim Allen, like Plastic Tim Allen, as much as it is creepy, he was a good like foil to Santa, if you get what I mean. Like
But Santa didn't verse him.
No, at the end he does. At the end he's trying to get back his role because it was stolen from him.
Okay, wait a second. So isn't Sam Frost's job to produce snow? Am I right?
I don't even know.
Sorry.
So it's
That's
explained.
actually a
That's
Hawthorne player.
explained in the thing that Jack Frost. So he mentions that his whole issue with Santa is that Jack Frost starts the season, but Santa steals the rest of it.
That's
from
what
him.
I thought. Yeah,
So
that's
he's like,
why.
I'm the mate. I
that's why-
start it. I'm like the warm up gig to your main event.
That's why Jack Frost
Yeah,
is
but I
pissed at Santa, because he's like, well, I'm there starting it all off, and then Santa gets all the
He gets all the glory
credit.
and the
It's
credit.
not, but he doesn't do it in a way that, like, he doesn't have a pure plan where he's like, all right, I'm going to sabotage, you know. A lot of villains in any movie, you'll get to see their planning, or at least, like, the way they think. This one, he was just like, oh, cool, Santa's just fucked up somewhere. I'm just going to go over here and fiddle with this and fiddle with this. Like, it just didn't feel like he was an actual villain. It just felt like...
He felt like a villain to me.
Well, it kind of felt like a Loki in Marvel, where he just kind of steals it. Like, he doesn't really... He's not an actual arch...
That's okay. Maybe that's what he was going for.
I don't know.
Maybe that was the dynamic.
It just didn't feel right. And I liked the fact that at the end of the movie, yes, the commercialism aspect, the first thing I thought of was, it's basically Back to the Future 2.
Well, like, maybe
but I
also
did
thinking about it, looking at what he did do once he was Santa, like, maybe it wasn't all about trying to steal Christmas off Santa. It was because he wanted the money from Christmas.
But it's never explained in the movie. It's always explained of, I just want the fame, but it never talks about the money aspect or the like.
Well, I guess it did when it got to the alternate reality.
But
that's what I'm.
But that
Yeah.
took 2/3, maybe even 3/4 of the movie before you even get to the point of finding out. Oh wait, no, he just wants the attention. It's not really like it's not explained very well, and it's not explained clearly, and the fact that it doesn't have those moments like Santa Claus, you get through the whole movie and you realize, okay, he's going to become Santa whether he likes it or not, and that's when he changes into his thing. When he goes the old Santa, I could understand why Plastic Santa becomes what he does, because he doesn't have the mind of a human, and he's following the rules, but yet everyone else isn't following the rules, so he is thinking he's doing the right thing. That makes sense to me. But with Jack Frost, it just didn't come across like that. It just felt like, I'm just gonna do the sneaky thing and try and steal it from Santa, rather than try to thwart him, if you get what I mean.
What's something you did like about the third movie?
I liked the alternate reality. I liked the fact that, like, at the end, I thought it was a good idea to have the It's a Wonderful Life idea, where it's, Santa, you didn't exist as Santa. And that's when Tim Allen realizes, holy shit, my family is the most important thing. How did I lose sight of that? I thought that was really nice, because, you know, all the movies have been about family. So, yeah, it's a good end. If this is going to be the end of the trilogy, it's actually a really good way to end his arc as Santa Claus, throughout all 3 movies. To see at the end, it's like, hey, cool. I'm actually, I am Santa. This is my family. I should just, allow people to be comfortable around me and all that sort of stuff, and I can build my family again.
Yeah. Nice.
What about you, Josh?
Okay. Something I didn't like. Bernard wasn't there. I was really upset about that fact. I really hated him in the first 2, but just really wanted him there in the 3rd one. So that was really unfortunate. I'm a bit controversial. Well, I guess not controversial, but my favourite thing about this movie was Jack Frost and his plan. I know we've kind of just talked about potentially it wasn't well explained, but I actually think that's good. Because I think that what he was doing was he didn't know, he wanted to get to Santa somehow. He didn't have it formulated. But what he was doing was observing Santa's weaknesses and exploiting those. So making tension. Like especially when the in-laws were there and he realised straight away that he's already lying to the in-laws that it's Canada, so there's obviously tension there. He's kind of chasing that aspect down. So I thought that Jack Frost was smart. I think that's why I liked him, because he was a smart character.
And I also feel like he was always asking questions and he was always observing. Like, didn't he ask how does Santa not be Santa anymore?
Correct. Yeah, he did the investigation. He did the legwork. It tricked him. And then I thought that was even funnier with the reverse, with Santa getting him back because he had it recorded on a pen, because obviously Jack Frost was never going to say those words. But I actually thought that was quite funny. I don't know whether it's because I really like Martin Short as an actor or not, but I love that kind of... It felt very cabaret. It felt very... and I guess that's the type of actor that Martin Short is, though. Like, he brings that energy. It's very showman, and especially when he's singing in his alternate reality and he's up on stage and showing off. He just felt like in his own. I'm not saying it was a perfect movie. I don't know if I enjoyed it as much as some of the other Santa Claus movies, but I did enjoy Jack Frost. I thought it was nice to mix it up and add some kind of new element. If we were characters from these movies, who would we be?
Josh or Tim Allen?
Just normal Tim Allen, not Santa.
Yeah. I'm not Santa, I'm Tim Allen. I'm okay with that.
I feel like Luke is Bernard.
Yeah, I was going to say I'd be Bernard.
I'm Comet.
Oh my god, you would... Yeah, alright, let's talk about Comet for a moment quickly. What do we think about the inclusion of reindeer puppets from the second movie?
I thought that was alright. I thought that was one of the better bits. Especially Chip. And
Chip was nice as an addition in the third one. But yeah, no, the second one. Chet? Yeah.
Chet, sorry. I think it was Chip.
Amy, who would you be? You would be the kid.
Yeah.
You'd be Charlie from the first movie.
Yeah, you would
Or
be
would
Charlie.
I be the girl who brings the hot
snow
chocolate?
globes? No, snow globes. She's the snow globe girl.
The ranger?
What, Lucy?
The ranger.
The girl from Cheaper by the Dozen.
I'll be old enough and I'll find out about things.
When I'm 7.
Yeah, that was quite good. She had some good one-liners, actually. Let's talk about, I guess, the message of the movies. I think we've kind of talked a little bit across the three what the messages were, but what I want to ask before we do the Christmas hats is, which movie had the best message?
I just said it, number 3.
No, the first one.
What one do you reckon, Amy? Which one had the best message for you?
I reckon number 3 too.
Yeah, I'm a bit torn. I mean, it's 1 or 3. I think all of us are saying no to number 2.
I think the message is more clear and dry, number 3, whereas you have to work out number 1.
All right, lads, it's on you.
Okay, let's do this. Will you rank your favourite movie and also give them a Christmas hat?
Are we saying like Christmas hats for each movie?
Yep, just give them a simple number.
Okay.
No explanation.
No explanation, just a number.
No explanation, just a number. Do you want me to start? Is that easier?
Sure.
Number 3 is my first one.
Yeah.
I'll give that an 8.
Okay.
Number 1 is my second, and I'll give that a 7. Number 2 is number 3 for me, and I give that a 6.
Great. Nice.
Who's next?
I'll go. Santa Claus 1 was my top, and I would give that a 7.5. Santa Claus 2, I'm going to give that a 5. And then Santa Claus 3, I'm going to give it a 4.
Josh?
I am going to give... So, I think my first one is Santa Claus 1. And I'm going to give that an 8.5. I'm going to give Santa Claus 3, that's my second. I'm going to give that an 8. Then I'm going to give Santa Claus 2, which is my third, a 6.
Nice. Amy?
I think I'm going to go similar numbers to Josh, but my favourite is the third, which is an 8.5. Second one is the first, which is an 8, and then the second one is a 7.
The number 1 is 3, and 2 is first, and third is last.
God, that's confusing. Do you have a question for us, Luke?
Who is, in your family, like your immediate family, is the hardest person to buy for?
My dad, because his birthday is Boxing Day. So I always have to make sure I get him 2 separate presents. And I can't buy for him because I don't know how to buy for men.
That's the same for both my brother and my mum, because mum's birthday is on the 14th, and then Christmas is obviously 25th, and then my brother's is on the 22nd. So I have to buy
Christmas babies.
So many presents. I'm like, one is enough. I have to think of another, especially this year. Mum was hard to think of.
I think my sister probably.
You could give your sister any type of alcohol and she'd be happy.
Well, that's exactly you. But I also think if I asked my sister that question, she would say me, because we're both like, you just get me something.
Yeah.
It's like,
For me, it would be a toss between my brother and my dad. My dad mainly because a lot he doesn't have as many set hobbies as other people do, and my brother is the same. But also, my brother is very much along the lines of I want something that's going to help me and be something I use all the time, rather than just a throwaway gift. So it's trying to find something that's efficient and usable with my brother.
Yeah, that's fair.
Josh, did you think of a Christmas joke for today?
I did think of a Christmas. Well, I didn't think of it. I've Googled it. Between the copious amounts of alcohol and 6 hours worth of Santa Claus, my brain can't write a Christmas joke at this point in time.
No, fair enough.
But I have Googled one. How much... No, that's not the question.
He's been reading... We've had 2 sets of Christmas crackers each, and he's already read Christmas jokes, and he didn't see one of them.
All right. Yeah, no, because they're rubbish. Not like this joke. How much did Santa pay for his sleigh?
How much did Santa pay for his sleigh?
Nothing. It was on the house. And welcome back, buddy!
I like that. That's good.
That was pretty good.
I formally retire from the podcast.
Mate, we still got to keep on going. We got more episodes left.
I know.
Amy, did you find a fun fact for today?
Yeah, so a couple weeks ago I said that 2 weeks before Christmas was apparently the second biggest time for breakups.
I would like to put my hand up and say you're a liar because...
No, wait.
Oh, okay.
Apparently Christmas Day has the lowest number of breakups. So if you can make it to Christmas Day, then you're probably safe with your partner.
You'd have to be an extremely heartless person.
Oh, I'm going to do it.
I was looking at Maddie, I was like, she's going to dump me.
I know at least 4 people who have gotten engaged within these last 2 weeks of, December.
Christmas is a very romantic
you're a liar,
time.
Amy. Your fun facts are wrong. And on that note of Amy being a liar, you should send us a message.
I was going to say, when we were seeing the reindeers, I asked Josh, especially with Comet in the second movie, he ate all this chocolate and became quite obese. Would he have been more susceptible to COVID?
That was so bad.
It wasn't good, but you were going to miss out on it, and I didn't want that to happen.
I was going to miss the COVID joke. I'm not going to lie. I've had a lot of beers. If anything, I'm the most susceptible person to COVID.
It wasn't even beer. It's more like punch and vodka.
That's true. I've not had one
I've
beer.
got a
beer pong
COVID
champion.
Joke. I've got a better one.
Right,
Do you think, given the amount of minutes Luke takes to talk, do you think because he'd get a sore throat from that, he'd be more susceptible to COVID?
God. That's a roast. Jeez.
We already had a roast today. I don't need another one now.
Too bad it's happening.
We've already had lunch. No room for more roasts.
More pav.
More pav. Oh dear. I did kind of think of one, but it wasn't good. It was like, you know, that is it Beans from Even Stevens? That kid Spencer. What's his name? The actor.
I don't know his name.
The one that plays the head elf in number 3.
Spencer Breslin.
Well,
yeah.
The one from Cat in the Hat.
Yeah. He's just susceptible to COVID because of the way he fucking looks. So that's where I was going to go with it. But
I also would have thought that having all those people in the restaurant after they've destroyed their chicken on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
Another one.
We'll just cut this whole part out.
And if you would like to give us your opinion on the best COVID joke of the day, you can do so by sending us an email, mailbag.christmasandchill@gmail.com. Look us up on all of our socials. That's Instagram and Facebook at Christmas and Chill Podcast. Apple Podcast listeners, please leave us a review of some kind. Ideally, a 5-star review. Next person to do it, Luke's going to drink 5 gallons of gravy. So please make sure you leave that 5-star review.
I'm ready.
Tomorrow, we're watching the last Christmas TV special of our list, Frosty the Snowman.
Yes! Oh, I love this one.
So we've gone from 6 hours of movie to another about 20 minutes.
By the way,
should be quite good.
This one is my final pick of this whole series, so I'm very excited to watch it.
Guys,
Me, the Frosty the
This is-
Snowman.
Who?
What?
Who?
Who?
Who asked?
oh, jeez.
I'm going to say goodbye.
Guys,
Obviously, I'm not welcome back. It's been a whole week here.
You weren't welcome in the first place.
Guys, I would just like to say, I would like to mention, just before we quickly go, the countdown is on to Santa with muscles.
Oh, no.
Just Christmas in general.
Just before we get to Christmas.
Guys, Christmas is on Friday.
Wait,
jeez.
Friday?
On Friday.
That's close.
6 days?
And on that note...
Fuck me.
And if you would like to fuck Amy, please send us a message.
mailbag.christmasandchill@gmail.com. Luke will drink a gallon of gravy for you. Thanks so much for listening. We will see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.